Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up to the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions. Cleveland, this is for you.
What's going on, Cavs fans? Welcome back to another holiday edition of the Block, the Shot, the Stop. I'm Skylar Wepker. He's Kevin Lynch. We're coming at you the night before Thanksgiving to review the last game of the Cavs against the Raptors and then kind of take it the quarter season mark and review what we know about the Cavs as of now. Kevin, how are you on this Thanksgiving Eve?
Remarkably sober. I have a bit of a headache, but it has nothing to do with alcohol. We've had have family in town, my two young nieces, and so lots of good screaming and everything, but it does still leave you with a little bit of a banger going on.
Our stuff starts tomorrow and Friday, so we're packing the Tylenol.
Yep, good idea. That's your dad advice right there.
Yeah, there we go. So, Kevin, as we look back at the last game against the Raptors, which was Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and the Skeleton Crew, because everybody's hurt. Though everybody was hurt and coming against a Raptors team that this Cavs team has struggled against this year, they seemingly put up a pretty good fight against a healthy Raptors team.
Yeah, they kept it within striking distance. Honestly, mostly on the back of like hustle and decent defense and kind of an off shooting night for both teams, which they're both on the second night of a back-to-back. So you can kind of understand that. To kind of springboard on what you're saying, like in total, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, and I think I'm missing, and of course Max Strus. We're all out. So 6 guys that would normally be in the 10-man rotation out on Monday nights. A lot of that by injury, a little bit maybe rest, and it showed. The team really struggled offensively. I mean, you don't score 100 points in a game in the NBA nowadays. It's a struggle.
Yeah, when you see that Chris Livingston got 14 minutes,
played well. I thought
played well.
Yeah,
but 14 non-garbage time minutes. Same thing with Luke Travers. You kind of don't love your chances on that.
You don't, and we'll get into the game, but I'm just, one of my gripes is going to be not change. It doesn't seem like they changed the game plan to what personnel is available that night. They played exactly the way they have this whole year and really struggled offensively.
No doubt. They definitely struggled hard. I'll even say Donovan Mitchell, who's been incredible all year, to only walk away with 17 points. Now he really put it on himself to get everybody else involved with 4 assists. So he was really trying to get everybody around him going, but it's hard to do whenever it's, hey, call a spade a spade. A lot of guys that don't have a ton of NBA minutes under their belt.
Yeah. Neither Curry. He actually had 8 assists and not 4 I have here. So he was trying to get everybody involved. And I think that maybe I think it was by design. And I don't know if it was because Donovan just kind of felt his jumper being off, or he thought that was the correct strategy, especially in the first half. I mean, the majority of his 17 points actually came in the fourth quarter. He had 10 of his 17 were in the fourth quarter. So he was really struggling with his shot for one of the only times this year. And unfortunately, kind of everyone else was too.
And I don't want to say to be expected, but when they're leading the league in games played, I mean, they've had a very intensive front half of the season, and I'm sure we'll dig into that a little bit further when we get into our quarter season review. But we don't have to dwell on this game too much. But who did you like? Who did you not like, other than the game planning?
Jaquan Thompson, and my celebrity name for Jalen Tyson and Naquan Tomlin. These two guys have like taken turns kind of being the darlings of the Cavs season among the fan base and the team for that matter. Not only with how effective they've played and how they've outperformed expectations, but the way they've done it with hustle, defense, surprising offensive efficiency. Tyson, 15 points, nine assists on 6 of 9 shooting. Tomlin, 14 points, 4 rebounds on 6 of 8 shooting. Like, you take those two guys away, it's a cliff after that with some efficiency in this game. They were both on a night where the team struggled as a whole. Naquan Tomlin was a -5. Jalen Tyson was a -11, but they were both actually plus in the plus minus about midway through the fourth quarter. Then they brought them in for the closing lineup, and frankly, the Toronto closed out the game better than the Cavs. It was I think a 1-point game with like 5 minutes to go, and then Toronto made the plays on the stretch and the Cavs did not. And one of those games where it was a complete and total struggle for virtually the whole game. Donovan Mitchell got hot for a couple minutes stretch, really the only time he was efficient offensively the whole game. And then and they closed it. I think they either tied it or closed it to 1. I can't remember exactly. And then again, Toronto made the plays down the stretch. Both Brandon Ingram had a huge offensive game, and Scotty Barnes had a really good all-around game. And they were, frankly, the two best players on the floor Monday night.
Yeah, and I was going to go to the same two people that you had, and maybe these are just our guys this season, because I love, obviously we talk about their energy and hustle and heart that they play with, and I love those qualities, but I love that they're showing production and getting it done on both ends of the floor. It's not like you have to sacrifice offense for the defense. You don't have to sacrifice the defense for the offense. Jalen Tyson with a steal and a block, Naquan Tomlin with a steal of his own. So these guys are doing it on both ends of the floor, and that's something that honestly this Cavs team really needs. But just having guys like that on this team make you feel better about the Cavs in this point in time with all the injury history that this team has suffered. And I mean suffered this way through the season.
Yeah. But like, we can't just use it as an excuse every day. I was actually surprised to hear this, and this is a stat as of a couple of days ago. I think it was before Monday's game, so it might have changed a little bit. The Cavs were 9th in games missed. By basically, you add up every guy who's missed a game, add them all together. They're only ninth in the league, which obviously that's top 10. That's high, but it's not something that every NBA team, or at least most, aren't dealing with. So while it is unfortunate and it's a little bit more extreme than some other teams, I think we're comparing it against last year when they were exceptionally healthy, which that was more the anomaly than this season is, right? So I think it's something we obviously have to mention. It matters, but something, frankly, we need to stop harping on, because in today's NBA, just the way it is, guys get a lot of bumps and bruises and miss games, and they manage the regular season a little bit differently. They're gonna have to be able to figure out how to get guys in the lineup as much as possible, but also win when everybody isn't in the lineup.
Fair point. To my counter argument, I would say it definitely depends on who is out.
For sure.
If you look at some of these guys or some of these other teams that are missing guys, it's guys that really aren't impacting the team as heavily as, say, Darius Garland to the Cavs, or teams that might not have championship aspirations like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, if Colin Sexton misses a game for the Utah Jazz, it means nothing to the Utah Jazz.
It especially means nothing because he's on the Charlotte Hornets now.
Oh.
He got traded this year. That's amazing. I'm clipping that. But that, yes. So, fair point. There are a lot of stars that have missed time. I mean, LeBron James missed the first 15-ish games of the year. Not that he's the biggest star in the league anymore, but just to give you an example, and the Lakers went 11-4, I believe, in his absence. So, like, there are guys. I mean, I know Aaron Gordon is a extremely important player for Denver. He's missed a lot of time this year. So I think it's one of those things where we're both kind of right. And you could also make the counter argument. Two guys that have been healthy the whole year are the Cavs' two best players, and Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. And so you're talking about all the guys 3 through 8 in their rotation that have been missing time. And while they're incredibly important, if your two best players are readily available, if you're getting kind of like over expectation contributions from a few players, such as the Jalen Tyson that we talked about, the sky shouldn't be falling, and it's not falling. They're 12-7. I'm so sick of the Toronto Raptors. I'm glad we can say goodbye to them until at least the playoffs, if not next year.
Oh yeah, they are done with them for the season.
They're done with them. Yeah, 0-3, all within the first 20 games of the season.
Horrible. Yeah. So yes, let's move on to the quarter season review. And I did know that he was on Charlotte. I don't know why I said Jazz.
It was amazing.
But if we go to our quarter season review, obviously the Cavs aren't in the same darling spotlight that they were 20 games in last season. So in this season, I don't think we're too, high and mighty on ourselves, but I don't think we're too low on ourselves just knowing the circumstances that this team has gone through. I mean, I think they've had 2 entire games with their actual starting lineup. So what standout players, I would say, and I'll put an asterisk on this. Can't be Jalen Tyson. Can't be Naquan Thomas.
Yeah. We've talked about
standout players this far in the season.
So before I even get into the players, I would tell you, I've watched every game this season. If I didn't know the record and didn't look at the standings, and you asked me where we're at the Cavs be, I'd be about 4th or 5th, and that's exactly where they are. They're 4th. They're 12-7. They're a half game out of 3rd, a game and a half out of 2nd. Detroit's obviously been the story of the East this year. They're not running away, but running in front of everybody else right now. So we'll start there. Again, sky not falling, being a game and a half out of 2nd in the East, 3.5 out of the 1st after 19 games, no problem, right? So the 2 biggest things that stand out aren't going to surprise anybody. The one, and we've talked about it plenty, but I'll quickly go into it. Donovan Mitchell is playing the best basketball of his career. And frankly, if it weren't for him, the Cavs would be more in like the play-in picture than the playoff picture right now, as far as the standings go. They've needed him to be every bit as good as he's been. Of their 12 wins, I don't know if they get half of them without him. He's really been that good and that necessary for the team. So I think if you're looking for positives, you have the best version of Donovan Mitchell, who's been one of the top 20 players, 15 players in the NBA for a while. And he's playing the best basketball of his career. So ideally you start to get other guys back. You start to get other guys playing a little bit better. And you combine that with Mitchell at the peak of his powers. That's going to be really good. Why don't I stop there and you do a good, and then we'll go into bad.
Yeah, sure. I won't pick Donovan Mitchell, even though 100% agree with everything you said. I don't even think they're a play-in team without Donovan Mitchell. But I'm going to go with Sam Merrill. This is a guy who came in heavily criticized because of, getting the contract and not letting the Cavs, basically effectively not letting the Cavs retain Ty Jerome as well.
Yeah.
I think he's came in proving that he's worthy of that contract and that money and all that criticism, shooting the lights out. I mean, when he's on the floor, he's hard to guard. And then we're seeing kind of the evolutions of him. We're seeing him drive to the basket and cut to the basket more, where we really weren't seeing that a lot. It was a lot of Sam sit in the corner and we'll find the way to get the ball to you. So I like the shot selections of Sam Merrill. I like the different evolutions that he's giving, and like I said, living up to the contract that was heavily scrutinized.
And that's fair. I mean, I was thinking the best word would be a lot of people were skeptical of Sam Merrill if he deserved quite the contract they gave him. I put myself in that camp. I'm not like, I really liked Sam. I thought there was more to his game. I thought the contract was a little rich when it was signed, to be honest, compared against similar players and what they got. But he's definitely living up to it. He not only is shooting lights out, but he's playing really solid defense. He's contributing. He's developing a little bit more diverse of an offensive game, even if the three's always going to be his, go-to. So I'm with you there. I think Sam, the only unfortunate thing with Sam so far this year is he's battled a couple minor injuries and missed a few games, but you can see both when he's in and out of the lineup, how valuable he's become for this team.
Absolutely. And just having a true shooter, like we don't need Sam to distribute the ball, but having a good shooter on that team, or on this team, I should say, we know how necessary that is, especially if you're trailing and needed to catch up and find a way to catch up. Having a good shooter on your team is never a bad thing for an NBA franchise.
No, never a bad thing, especially because for this team, when things are going at their best, they're putting pressure on the rim, usually by drive or pick and roll, and then to have one of the best 3-point shooters in the league spotting up on the opposite side of the court if the defense collapses. That's money. That's so much of what the Cavs did last year to make them the most efficient offense in the league, make them the best 3-point shooting offense in the league. It was not only really good shooters, but getting good quality shots. And Sam is doing all of this, frankly, in a much more inefficient offense than it was last year. So if they get, they have Garland back, if they keep him healthy, keep some people healthy, get the offense running a little bit better and keep Sam healthy, like who knows where his offensive season could go.
Oh, you're getting me excited. You're getting me ready for the next quarter of the season.
I like it. All right. So I have to do a bad now, or are we trading off good and bad?
Yeah. Let's
all right.
Look at what needs to change or what needs to improve coming into this next quarter.
They need more production from Evan Mobley. Everyone talked coming into this year about Evan Mobley about to take another leap to be into like being a top 10 player in the league. If you're being kind, you'd say he's stagnated. If you're being honest, you could say he's even taken a little bit of a step back from last year, both offensively and defensively. If we're being honest, I think my opinion on it is that they gave him a little bit too much to do offensively. And instead of leaning into his strengths, they tried to lean into the possibility of other things that he might be able to do on a court, some of which he may eventually be able to do. I just don't think he's ready to be, a primary creator, throw him the ball in the wing and let him go. He's much better offensively when he catches the ball on the move or he catches the ball, stand still, ready to shoot a three. Those are the two ways. So, and you can see it. We've highlighted it, how much better he has looked offensively with a Darius Garland in the lineup, to where he does get the ball more on the elbows, rolling to the baskets, things like that. So, I'm kind of looking at some of Evan's numbers. The 3-point shooting is down about 2.5%. Field goal percentage, he was at 56 last year. He's at 49 this year. For a big guy to be under 50% is as skilled as Evan Mobley is really disappointing. The rebounding's even down a half rebound a game. And, a lot, I won't read them all off, but the percentages kind of across the board are a little disappointing. And the turnovers are way up, almost a full turnover a game. You'd be fine with that if he was, producing a little bit more playmaking. But I think right now they need to scrap Evan Mobley as a primary playmaker on this team and make him a primary finisher on the offensive end. And even if you have to go back to having Donovan Mitchell sacrifice a little bit of offense at times to be more the playmaker, I think that's going to be the better move for this team.
I agree. And I understand that they want him to evolve and sharpen every facet of his game, but I just don't think that that's something that he should be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should be the playmaker. If you look, one of his closest comparisons is Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett was never the playmaker, but he was the finisher. He was the defense. He was everything else that you needed to be out there. And, I think we have, well, not now because they're all hurt, but we have enough playmakers on this team, or enough playmaking on this team, to really match what we did last year. But if we can just have Evan Mobley keep ascending in the things that we need him to ascend in, be a better 3-point shooter, be a better finisher, be even better defensive player of the year, I think that's the right direction for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think in trying to ask him to expand his game, it has compromised some of his strengths, both offensively and defensively. And I think they, as much as they can, need to go back to using him as they did last year. And if he's going to develop more as a playmaker, develop more playing from the wing at times and everything, let it happen naturally instead of trying to force feed it. Like, I mean, that's all everyone talked about all summer. All the Cavs content creators, Kenny Atkinson talked about it. Kobe Altman talked about it. Donovan Mitchell talked about it. Like, Evans coming, he's the big man on campus. He's about to take this league by storm, all this kind of stuff. And I just think he wasn't ready for it, or it got in his head. And he's such a good player. I will take the exact same Evan Mobley from last year, this year on this team again. And if it's not going to be, because he's only 24 years old, but if last year was his peak and he just played exactly the same for the next 6 or 7 years, that's fine. That is one heck of a player.
That's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But I do think there's going to be more growth, but I think you need to let the growth happen naturally in small chunks at this point. He's already taken the big leap. Let him take the small steps as his game comes, opposed to trying to push him up the stairs.
Yeah, I agree with you. And not to give Evan Mobley a hard time. I know he's caught a lot of flack online lately.
Yeah.
Some, as you said before we got on, some of it valid, a lot of it just what the internet does. It goes over the line.
What the internet does. Internet finds something where there's a little bit of truth, and then literally just drops like an M80 on it.
So I think we're starting to see him get back to what he needs to be. We're seeing a lot less in the past couple of games, a lot less 3-point shooting, a lot less having the ball in his hands, and a lot more finishing around the rim, which I think is good for him. I would say the thing that I need to see change is really just, can I just say the offense, period?
Yeah.
Because last year they were top in every statistical category you can think of. Yep. This year, the Cavs are middle of the pack in field goal percentage, middle of the pack in 3-point percentage, actually lower.
Low, yeah.
They're 20th in the pack in 3-point percentage. Free throw percentage, they're 26th.
Yeah.
So I just in general, this whole, whether it's taking better shots or something's got to change there.
You can't shoot the most threes in the league and be 22nd in percentage. Like, you either need to lean into the 3-pointer and get the high quality shots and shoot. They don't have to be number 1 in the league, but they have to be like top 10. If you're going to be number 1 in attempts, you need to be top 10 in percentage. That's how I would look at it. If you're not, or go the other way, like bring the volume of threes down a little bit, concentrate more on putting pressure on the rim. And get to the free throw line more, which I was shocked to see they shoot 75.4% on free throws. Like I was floored by that. I thought it would be even worse. But I don't know. There has to be an adjustment in either strategy or execution here, because, going back to that Toronto game just for a second, like I told you, we named like the 6 guys that are out, like 4 or 5 of those guys are mostly their best 3-point shooters plus Donovan Mitchell, although Jalen Tyson percentage wise is the best right now. And they still shot 48 threes in that game. Like, all but one of your best 3-point shooters are out, and you're still chucking 48 of your 87 shots. 60% of your shots are 3-pointers on a night. 4 of your 5 best 3-point shooters are not playing. Like, you have to, strategy or execution has to change. This is the definition of insanity that we're doing right now with the Cavs offense. So I'm literally fine with either one, leaning into either one, but I think there's enough data 19, 20 games in that doing the exact same offensive construction right now with the personnel available is not working for the Cavs.
I agree. And, I'm going to point out Lonzo Ball as somebody here, because look, I love the rebounding. If a guard can give you, he's averaging 4.3 rebounds a game and 5.2 assists. That's good for a backup guard. you can't be shooting 30%.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable on any team, let alone one that's trying to go win a championship.
My opinion is I think they miscalculated the Lonzo Ball thing because while Lonzo Ball is a playmaker, he's a playmaker strictly with his passing and not with his dribble penetration. So like the idea of him replacing what Ty Jerome did last year, that was miscalculated. They're very different types of players. And if we're saying, if we're talking about things that could change, the Cavs need another playmaking guard, a guy who can run the pick and roll, whether that's someone that they develop on this roster right now or they make a move to get one. Our friend Zach Gets Ball, whatever the heck his name is nowadays, threw out a Max Strus for Dennis Schroeder trade, which I think I love that because frankly, you're not getting any production from Max. You might have to throw a couple second round picks or whatever in. But Dennis Schroeder is an overqualified third guard, guard off the bench that is typically remarkably healthy and could be a guy who holds the fort when Darius Garland's out or Mitchell's out for the moment. And then when they're available, be a high level backup playing 20 minutes or so a game. And I trust Zach said, the contracts work, all that kind of stuff. I think the trade couldn't happen until mid-December because Schroeder signed as a free agent. But so we're a couple weeks from it actually being able to look at that as a real possibility. But something like that, I've always liked, Dennis Schroeder's game. He's like German Iverson in international play. But I thought that was a good example of something that of a move the Cavs could make that could fill a need for the team while not taking away from the roster. Because again, Max hasn't played in the rotation in that 3-4 spot that Max usually plays has gotten pretty heavy,
crowded.
Yeah. And so it was just something I think no matter what the move is, they need another playmaker, true point guard type, because Lonzo is a valuable player. He's not really a point guard anymore.
And I would say the Cavs have a lot of moves that they could make. We talked about how Dean Wade has a favorable contract, and you could probably get something for him. You could definitely get something for Max Strus as well. I would also say you could probably flip Lonzo Ball in the sense of he's only $5 million difference between him and Strus contract wise. I know they can't take on any more money, but you could get something for $10 million. Obviously, sweeten the pot with some second round picks or whatever. But you could get $10 million worth of a player, and it's last year of his deal. It's a void year on the next year, so the whoever they trade with, they're not tied to Lonzo Ball like the Cavs were tied to Isaac Okoro when they swapped for each other. So you kind of get out of a contract sooner. You have a little bit of room that you can play with. So I wouldn't say that's impossible.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's most of my change. I mean, obviously the best change would be to get this roster healthier and more consistent, be able to really figure out. And again, there is a scenario where, this all turns into house money, that they have a few guys that got a lot more playing time than you would think they would, who have really produced and could be a part of your rotation, even when they get guys back. And then you start getting some of those guys back. I mean, most of the guys that we mentioned, will be back either very soon or by tomorrow or Friday night when they play. With obviously the exception of Strus. We haven't gotten a real update on Merrill. They say day to day, but same thing with Jared Allen. But you imagine they're all coming back fairly soon. But can we I feel like we're always saying we're about to get somebody back, but then can we keep anyone back?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure. And I will say, because I'm just running through all the things in my head, maybe we don't trust Kobe Altman's trading ability.
Ooh.
Just saying.
you're nobody's going to hit on 100%. And honestly, I don't even think, even at this point, the Lonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro trade isn't bad, because I don't think Okoro was going to play on this team. Just I think he kind of not, I don't want to sound bad, but kind of lost favor with Kenny, just because he's much more defensive minded than offensive minded, and Kenny almost always goes offensive minded when it comes to picking rotation. So I still don't think that's a bad trade. I do think maybe the miscalculation was, do we have enough playmaking, particularly from like the lead guard spot, knowing that Garland was going to be out to start the year, knowing that Strus is going to be out for a while. I think that more than the trade itself, I think that was kind of maybe a mistake that they made.
Not just the Ball trade. I'm just going through since Kobe took over. Not a lot of great trades on the record. I mean, that 2018 team was a mess. Okay. That was all just trades that he made. The Andre Drummond. I mean, the list goes on and on of bad trades. He's definitely hit on some with Jared Allen, and I mean, it's hard to miss on Donovan Mitchell.
I was going to say, I think the Donovan Mitchell was a good trade.
But his drafting ability is showing incredible, because everybody that he's drafted looks promising on this team.
No, I agree with that. If you're leaning into one strength over the other, I would say Kobe Altman has and the front office have a great track record of drafting and a pretty good track record on trades. But yeah, I agree with you if you're saying they have a higher hit rate on drafting than their trades.
Drafting and free agents, they do really well job on. There's a few stinker trades out there though.
Fair enough. All right. Should we talk about this Hawks game?
Yeah, we can talk about the Hawks game. Obviously, the Hawks game is the final game of the NBA Cup. Right now, the Cavs are. We'll get a lot of clarity after tonight, but their fringe 4 spot for that wild card spot is really going to come down to point differential.
Yeah, and we have no idea. Right before we started recording, we realized that they're updating the stats live on NBA.com. So the point differential is changing. Whoever's in the lead currently, they're just giving them the win for tonight. So frankly, it's very confusing. We do know that if the Cavs are going to get in, they will have to get that one wild card spot, and it's going to be a very competitive spot that will probably come down to. They have to win Friday nights, and then if they do, it'll come down to point differential.
Yep. And well, I guess it's final now because the New York Charlotte game has ended. But as of this moment, the Cavs are in the wild card spot. I think the Bucks game is still going on. Maybe. No, that's tomorrow. So right now it's looking good. They're positive in the point differential. They just really have to keep their foot on the gas tomorrow night against the Hawks.
Yeah, for sure. And this Hawks team, it's a team that's given the Cavs some trouble. Even last year when, we had that incredible run to start the year, the Hawks beat the Cavs 2 games in a row right around this time last year. I think it was right around Thanksgiving. They're just a big, long team. They're a little bit less skilled, less tough version of Houston, but kind of built in that same way where it's just all like length and size up and down the court, especially with Trae Young being out most of the season. They're going especially big a lot of times. Honestly, Jalen Johnson is just a really, really good player. He was on his way to being an all-star last year, and then he got hurt. And then he came back, and he's just as good, if not better, this year. And then they have a lot of guys. They're a good defensive team and a decent offensive team without Trae Young, but a team that, frankly, they're like, I think, a game and a half behind the Cavs in the standings. So should be a good test for the Cavs, and hopefully they have close to a full lineup to throw out Friday night.
I hope so. I'm looking at the matchup prediction right now. They're counting everybody as a game time decision on the Cavs roster. So, but at that, they're leaning just ever so slightly Cavs in a 51 to 49%. So very, very close game. And you hope to have your guys back that you can run Cavs ball. I mean, those couple of games that we saw with Darius Garland back, like that felt like Cavs basketball. And so you hope you can capture that tonight or tomorrow night, sorry, with the lack of playing time that you've had and cohesiveness that you've had so far this season.
For sure. And the one thing, and topic I missed, but it will be prevalent to that Hawks game. I hope that we're going to get Darius Garland in that game. I was curious, eye tests, you can tell this team's much better with Darius Garland, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked up, I wasn't planning to look this specifically up, but I got it for you, Skylar. So the Cavs without Darius Garland this year, their nets plus minus is plus 4.6, just under 5 points plus. What do you think it is with Darius Garland?
It's got to be a super small sample size, so it's probably some astronomical number of like plus 30.
No, it's plus 20.4. So
that's so close.
They are, as of now, 16 points better. Darius Garland's only played in 5 games, so take it with a grain of salt. But those 5 games, offensively, they average 14 more points per game with Darius Garland, and even with a small sample size, that's legitimate.
That's awesome,
because you can see not only is I think it's exaggerated because not only is Darius Garland a great player, an all-star level point guard, but this team is frankly even more dependent on him this year than they were last year because of lack of Ty Jerome, lack of some of the other parts of the offense flowing the way they were last year. So I think they're even more reliant on him. And you can see the offense, the 2 games he played Friday and Sunday, they scored 120 in both of those games. And then they scored 99 Monday night. Again, small sample size, but I'm not surprised at all that the offensive efficiency is off the charts better with him in the lineup. And so frankly, if he's in the lineup Friday, I'm feeling really good. If he's not, I'm feeling so-so.
I agree. So before we get out of here, it is Thanksgiving. It's tradition around here for us to share what we're thankful for. Kevin, the floor is yours.
Man, I'm so much to thankful for. It always starts with like the people in my life. My wife Marisa. I have 2 daughters. I welcomed a new daughter about 7 months ago, so her first holiday season. So very thankful for them and all of my family. I'm thankful for, I've mentioned the community I'm building here, the school that my daughter goes to. Most of second just to the people in my life being happy and healthy is like, this is the lowest amount of stress that I've had in my life in like probably 5 or 6 years, easy. And it just makes such a world of difference when things around you are clicking. Like my day job is going very well. It's very fulfilling, as well as like I work with great people and do great work. Like I said, the community that they live in, the house, other than some household debacles that I'm dealing with now, is going really well. So like other than the people in my life, I think the thing I'm thankful for the most is to be deregulated and, have a manageable level of stress to where the last 5 years really most of it had high stress. And especially this time last year, I've been living in my house for 4 days. And so,
I remember
moving over 500 miles and was completely the other end of the spectrum. So, those are the things I'm most thankful for this year.
Great things to be thankful for. And I'm so happy that things are going smooth for you this year. And a lot of changes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
I'm going to put it solely on my wife.
Okay.
Contrary to you, my life has been pretty stressful the last couple of months. And so just in the work life, a lot of movement going on there. And it's taken a lot out of me, and then putting in extra hours there, doing the Red Show. So I want to solely thank my wife for literally keeping our house together, because this place would be a disgusting frat house without her. Things would not be working. It would not be a home. It would be a shell and these laptop screens. So thankful to her, appreciative of her all the time for everything that she does for me and our family, and just making sure that we are actual people in society and not hermiting ourselves to stress out and lose our hair and shoot hairs out of our skulls like I do. So
yeah. No, man, that's great. I know we're not doing like our dad segment tonight. We're doing this in lieu of it and everything, but it's so important to have, a partner of any kind, whether especially it's your life partner, let alone work or anything else, where you can create balance with, and you can take turns picking slack for each other. And it's a great thing to be thankful for. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't, thank everybody that, has tuned into our show since the beginning, or if you're new to us as recently as this episode or anything like that. We certainly appreciate it, because this is a fun hobby side hustle for us. And the fact that we frankly wouldn't probably have the motivation to do it if no one ever listened. So at least I wouldn't. So certainly appreciate people coming along with us and hopefully having a little bit of fun in the process.
Absolutely. So we'll get our giddy up on and get on out of here. We'll be back on Sunday night to recap the games that have gone on since today, and take a look ahead into the next week. Please follow us on all of our social medias. We're on all of them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put out content all the time, not only just full episodes like this, but even highlights and clips. So please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us here on Playback, as we are going to be on Playback all season, and we have a lot of goodies to give away. And go listen on any of your podcast app of choice. We're on all of them. Likes, ratings, reviews. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't. We're just Cavs fans trying to put on a good show for other Cavs fans. So for that, we'll get out of here. For me, Skylar Wepker, for Kevin Lynch.
As always,
go Cavs.